this episode, I sit down with GoldyZ, an artist based in New York City who has mastered black and gray realism. Precision is the word I would use to describe her work. I don't think I've seen any tattoo artist replicate an image quite as well as she does. Her and her husband Adam have a beautiful studio in Manhattan. It's called Doc Creative Group. That's usually where I work when I'm in town, and I just really love being there. It's good people, huge talent, and great vibes. GoldyZ's work has inspired me for many years now, so it was such an honor to sit down and speak with her about her approach into tattooing, some of her techniques, and how she got to where she is now. You can find her work on Instagram. It's at Goldy_Z. My name is Jake Berry, and this is The Fine Line. GoldyZ.
Oh.
Everyone calls you Goldie.
Yeah.
But your real name's Zlata.
Yes, which means golden.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, that's where you get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's how I...
Well, that answers
It was
that
before
question.
tattooing. When Instagram appeared.
That's cool.
Yeah, Zlata was taken. What else am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've noticed everyone calls you Goldie. Even Adam calls you Goldie. When
He calls me Goldie when he talks about me, about like work
your tattoos.
stuff. Yeah.
Which is cute. That's nice. That's sweet.
But it is nice
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a brand name or whatever.
Yeah.
So
All right, well, I'm going to start off by complimenting you. Your work is fantastic. You're unmatched at what you do. So let's jump into like the skills and drawing and how that started, because obviously you've been drawing for a long time. And did you just...
ever since I remember myself.
Yeah.
Always been drawing, always was like with pencils and for some reason not paint as much, but pencils, always portraits, always like I used to, like, you know, like the, how you call them, VCR, the tapes.
Yeah.
I used to copy the, like a cover of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when they come out, it's like, oh, it's such a pretty picture. It's
Yeah.
like Titanic or whatever.
You would draw like Titanic. Well, that's cool. That's a good, that's a good reference. Actually, that probably translated very well into the tattooing career.
Well, that helped.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about, because I've seen you work a little bit over the last couple of years. I've been here a few times. One thing I've noticed a few things that you do that I haven't seen other tattoo artists do in the process.
Interesting. What is?
Well, one of them is I see you print out your stencil, and then you'll start to draw on paper.
Yes.
And kind of have a little bit of an idea of how you're going to tattoo the piece going into it.
Correct.
So, yeah, walk me through that. How did that start for you?
So I used to do hand stencils a lot. I used to use tracing paper. I used to like trace everything. So like while you're tracing, you kind of like go over the piece, you know, which shadow is where, and you know. And then it would take like forever. Every day I would spend like a couple hours to just like do a single stencil.
Right.
And then after like all those applications came up, like it was so much easier.
Yeah.
It's just like 2 seconds you have a ready stencil, but they do weird thing with the, like when they do stencil, so like you have to kind of know, like, so the dark line, it's not in the middle where the border of things is, like, I don't know how to explain that, but it's like
falls on one side.
Yeah,
or the
falls
other.
on one side or the other.
Right.
So sometimes you don't see it, and then a straight line would look wonky if one side is like switches like dark to light. So I'm trying to like do a sketch on top of a stencil to know where those things are, because sometimes it matters if it's like a portrait, if it's a face.
Yeah.
Sometimes it changes shape of a face or something. So I like to know what those stencil lines, like what they mean, you know?
Yeah.
So it just helps me. And I kind of like, when I do that, I have an idea of a like game plan for the tattoo.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, it's a smart idea. I feel like I would benefit from that. I don't do that, but I can see why you would do that. Maybe I should try it.
You should try it. Yeah. It's definitely, it's like another chunk of time before work, but it doesn't like help in a very noticeable way, but it's like ease your mind into tattooing. Like when you go into it, you know, like, okay, so this place needs more attention, like whatever.
That's interesting, because I remember when I was doing hand stencils, I mean, I wasn't doing portraits back then, but I was hand tracing stencils, like you're saying, and I noticed that it made me familiar with the tattoo, more familiar with the tattoo. So going into it, so then once we transitioned from that into like iPad stencils, you kind of lose that.
Yeah, and also it gives you idea how long the tattoo itself will take. Like when you do, especially a hand stencil, you like think it's a simple picture, and then you start tracing it. You're like, oh boy, I'll be here for.
I know that was you yesterday.
That was me yesterday. I knew that would be long. I didn't expect 8.5 hours, but I thought it would be like 6.5 or something.
There was just a lot of trees and background.
And it's and also the placement is not like the skin is not super even, I guess. So, and it's also like the bridge, the light, the leaves.
It looked good.
I'm happy with it.
Came out great. When you're getting the stencil ready, when you're about to start tattooing, or say throughout the whole tattoo process, what's like the most important part of the tattoo process for you?
Of the tattoo like the whole process, or just preparing?
The whole process. Like, say for you, what's the most like something that stands out to you? Like, this has to be perfect. This has to be right.
Well, when you put stencil on, it needs to be not distorted, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes you don't see it, but when you put stencil on it, like the body curves, and the portraits can become like look longer than the faces. So like when it's like on a certain curvy part of the body, so it's important to find a spot where it doesn't do that. So like
when you put on, if you have like a border, like a square or a rectangle, and you put that on a curved part of the body, you see the line will start to warp. Like sometimes it might look a little squiggly, or the corners might go out like that. And I was thinking, you notice that a lot on like a corner or a square. But that's clearly happening in a face as well. You just don't notice it as much.
Well, yes. But it's also like you compare. But face, I guess, like usually face is like in the center of a picture. Usually center don't get pulled sideways much. Because like you start putting stencil on with the face.
In the middle.
Yeah. So but sometimes I notice it's like if it's like multiple people in the picture.
Or if it's like a really large.
Yeah. On the
portrait,
the sides, it would go.
Yeah.
So then you stencil either the whole thing or a part of it if you can.
Yeah. No, it's just stuff you have to really like keep an eye out for. You know what I mean? Because you don't think about it, and then once you see it on there, your brain doesn't really register that it's wrong because it just looks like a face. You're seeing what you know it is rather than what you see.
I'm trying to look, like when I put stencil on, like with the face, I'm trying to look at the stencil and compare to the one on the body to see the proportions of face and stuff.
Oh, so you look at the stencil, the photo of the stencil, as well as the...
So I have a stencil and like I flip it so it's correct side.
Right.
And I just see the proportions of faces, eyes, and everything. So it's if it looks crazy long or something.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I put the stencil on and I noticed the person was like bending arm a little bit when I put the stencil on. So I had to re-stencil I made them stay straight so the body's more relaxed. And when I put stencil on, the proportions were correct.
Okay, yeah. Is there anything that you do to sort of get your brain out of the picture or the image that you're doing? So like, a classic technique in drawing is like you flip it upside down and you start looking.
It makes me nauseous.
It does, yeah. But I mean, like, so it kind of takes you out of what it is that you're actually doing. So you're just drawing what you see rather than what your brain is telling you it is. So if it's an eyeball, your brain stops thinking it's an eyeball and it just draws what you see. I zoom in on the
reference.
You do, yeah.
So like it works for me if like let's say not every picture I do is like super clear, like if it's like portrait, family or something. And sometimes it's like a mushy area with like whatever eyebrow, eyelashes, you don't know what's happening. Right. It helps to just zoom in on a reference and turn off the brain and just like copy whatever you see.
It's a grid system.
It's pretty much, yeah. So like you just copy whatever and you don't think about, the eyelid needs to be, like right here. So you just copy whatever it is and it works.
Yeah, that's something I struggled with a little bit in the beginning was being able to like And I see a lot of artists do that as well. They still will say like, "Oh, this is an eye, so it has to be. I have to get that line under there."
Oh my God, there's
You know?
so many tattoos I see with this like little
Bottom
eye. Like
eyelid,
people
yeah.
like put it intentionally and it's
Right.
not there in the picture.
Or
And it's like,
outline of the lips or something like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I once you kind of start to step away from what you're tattooing and you're just like, I'm just drawing shapes and tones. You can leave that out. You can be like, oh, I actually don't need this eyelid or this lip, and take a step back and look at it and be like, oh yeah, that looks like the
yeah,
image.
and
you know?
the same with the outline of a like a person or an object.
Yeah.
If in some way it blends in with the background, I just leave it out
Right.
because it makes it more natural. If you go for that outliney look, it's one thing, but if
Right.
it's like photorealistic something, like if it's not there, you just like don't do that, even if it's supposed to be there.
Right, yeah. What's a common question you get? I know you've done a few seminars now, and I was talking to Adam about it, and he said it's been really fun. He enjoyed it. I'd
Oh,
love to
yeah,
hear what you
it
think
is.
about that. You like it?
Yeah, the first one we did, I was very nervous because I did not know what to expect.
Yeah.
And it was very fun. I loved the questions. The second one, like the same thing, like
Yeah.
people were they had like very specific questions and everything was like very entertaining. It was not boring. It was just like long, like when you do tattoo long, but it was never dull, like
Right.
people would like keep asking questions online or in
What are
person.
some of the questions?
My goodness, the first seminar, we even like made a joke. Everybody, like people online, because we had a part of the
Yeah.
seminar online and in person, people keep asking me what voltage do I use, and I did not change the voltage a single time. The
Okay.
whole time I was just like the same thing, and
So you're like, it's the same.
yeah,
Haven't changed.
it's still
Yeah.
same. Yeah, and it was like on this particular person,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to change it. It was working. Like sometimes I jump all over.
Why
Like,
do you think people ask that so much? Because it's a common question, and I think it's a bit of a mystery. Because you can go, like, you hear some artists that are like, I go as slow as the machine will go, and other artists are like, I raise that up as high as I can, and
I
it's
don't
a
I
mystery.
don't
Like,
have
where do I
I don't
fall?
have a like one solution. Like sometimes you think, oh, I got the perfect balance of this
Yeah.
machine and the voltage and whatever, and this one person shows up and throws everything off
Yeah.
because nothing works. And you try high voltage, you try low voltage, and you find like whatever works on that skin. So
Yeah.
it's different. Like this past few days, I don't think I used the same voltage on people.
Yeah, yesterday I noticed I usually stay around the same voltage. I maybe will vary by one, you know what I mean, or whatever. Yesterday I noticed that I started tattooing and the voltage I was at for the whole tattoo, I switched to a different needle. I switched to an 11 mag, and that was not working for me for some reason. And for the first time in like months, I had to raise it up like a whole extra number to what I normally sit at. And it was working. And then like as I switched needles, I just went back. But that was rare for me. I feel like I float around the same. I'm always around the same. Maybe I'll bring it up one or two. But I definitely noticed a difference when I switched to a different size needle.
I did the same, like for a while, and then it just was not doing the same, I guess, like lately. And I just like tried different things. I was like, okay, found that,
Right.
like for this spot or something.
I mean, that's what tattooing is, right?
Yep.
Just trying new things.
Yep.
And
There's no perfect recipe.
yeah, I know it's so wild because like something could be working for 10 tattoos and then you get one client in here and their skin is so different.
Yep.
And you have to like totally change your approach. So I feel like this is something I think that comes with experience. So you're like, okay, I've been here before. This isn't working. So let me try this. But that's a wild concept when you're like putting something on someone forever and you're like, all right, I got to just figure this out. Let me just try a few different things, And I always joke because when you're working next to other tattoo artists and someone's like, hey, try this needle, and I imagine the client's like, try this needle like for the first time on me. No, thank you. Just do what you normally do. But I mean, that's just what tattoo artists do, right? You're just trying new things all the time.
Yep. I usually, when I find something that works for me, I don't search for better until it kind of like happens. Sometimes like
Yeah.
I just have this one particular new needle or something,
Yeah.
and like wow, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think Adam is
More experimental.
yeah,
Yeah.
very experimental, always constantly on the lookout for new, better things. And I'm not. I'm just, I find the one that work for me
Yeah.
and I stick to it. But this like one thing that works for me, it changes sometimes. I notice like my like needle drawer shifts. Like sometimes I use like certain set of needles more
Yeah.
and I buy them more. And then one day I just like, for some reason, I was like, this works better. And so it shifts sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. I go through the similar seasons where I would never use so I never used a mag less than an 11 for like probably 2 years. I just like if I needed a mag, I would use an 11, and I feel like I could kind of use that for most things. And then one day, I don't know what happened. I was just like, let me just try this, and I was using like a 7 or a 5, and I loved it. It was like it was like it was just going in so much easier or something, and totally switched, and I kind of like kicked myself a little bit because I'm like, what else am I not trying because I'm comfortable,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that like maybe would just be an eye-opening moment for me.
Yeah, and I switch back from also like sometimes I do bigger but smaller gauge needle, but sometimes I switch to like 535, like
Right.
but it's like depends I guess on the size of a portrait
Yeah.
also. If it's a bigger scale, it's easier because I take a bigger gauge, bigger like whatever needle, and it's just like faster. And with the small ones, you have to be careful because it's so easy to mess up.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's like in the smaller portraits. I keep talking about portraits, but it's like the
That's what you
most,
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's mostly what I do. The smaller portraits, you can see those like needle marks
Yeah.
when you do like a bigger needle. You can see those needle marks way more when it heals. And like I think it's something you need to be careful with. If it's a like very dainty, like a baby face or something,
Yeah.
and you have like a black dots all over,
Right.
it needs to be like a little balanced.
We're talking about portraits a lot, so let's talk about portraits. There's so much information in a portrait that's like so essential, that if you get it wrong, it can change the whole
Oh yeah.
tattoo. Where do you start? Because you have your stencil laid out on the skin, and you don't want to lose that stencil, say in the eyes and the mouth and nose or whatever.
Yeah.
So where do you start to make sure that you're not losing that stencil, but you're also not just like jumping into it without knowing how the skin's reacting?
Well, I never start with the face.
Really?
Always start somewhere else to try the skin and to try how like certain needles voltages again, like to find like what works on that skin. And I most of the time use a paper towel under my working hand because to not too much stencil, and usually works. The stencil stays pretty good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I wipe it off up until like very, very end. So like I have bits of stencil like
Still there.
still there, yeah. Yeah, like first trying somewhere which is like don't matter that much, like a shirt or something or background. And then when I see what works, go into face and mark strategic places, I guess, the ones that have to be there,
Right.
like the eyelids or whatever.
Yeah.
But I usually do them not in the full blast because it's very easy to overdo the
So
like,
you'll
on
come
the
back
face.
to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mark the like where the stencil is, so I know what needs to be darker, what needs to be go over. But usually it's like a couple passes. It's not from the first
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So at some point you finish your tattoo, you step away from it, you look at it, and I feel like most artists can go like, oh, there can always be something more you add, you
Yep.
know? So how do you know when a tattoo's finished? Or like, is there anything you look for when you think you're finished before you actually say, okay, I'm done?
I don't know. It's tricky. It's like you can always go more.
Yeah.
You can always like finish something more, but sometimes like you can feel the client's done,
Oh, okay.
and sometimes you don't want to overwork the skin, but most of the time it's just like a feeling. It's like okay, it looks complete, and there's always things that I think can be smooth out more or something, but I'd rather person to come back for a touch up.
Right.
So I don't want to overdo something.
Right.
Like if there is a let's say big black area that needs to be packed fully, and I see there's like stuff missing, but the person is already like,
Yeah.
like kind of like done,
Yeah.
and like you can feel it. You just like okay, heal this,
Yeah.
come back, we'll go over
see.
everything, and it'll be fine.
Because it also might just be fine.
Yeah, it might be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like I do touch ups just because
Yeah. Yeah.
person comes in, I was like, okay, it looks great. But then when you sit down with like a good looking tattoo, it's always something you can sharpen up or,
course.
like it's.
Can you think back at a time where you finished a tattoo or someone said something to you where you're like, okay, that was a huge learning moment?
I mean, constantly, but I cannot think of any
Anything in
specifics. I remember one when it was very difficult, like spot difficult skin,
Yeah.
and it was just not going in for dear life, like nothing, like not voltages, not needles, nothing, and I just lightly went over everything with a like very light gray wash,
Yeah.
and I just left it alone for like I took a break. Like that was the thing. Like I rarely take breaks. Usually I prefer to work, the longer chunks of time.
Yes.
And that was like the moment when I was like, I don't know what to do. Like it's not working. Like I don't know. And I just put like ointment on it, went out for like 10 minutes, like for another room, came back and the tattoo like swelled up. I don't know. Like it got like the skin was different consistency, like
Yeah.
different density, I guess. And it just like went smoothly from that
Oh,
point.
really?
So it was like very like stressed and tired skin, if it makes sense. And then you leave it alone for a little bit, let it do its thing,
Yeah.
and it was way easier afterwards.
Maybe-
But it doesn't work every time. But
Right.
sometimes it's a useful thing to do.
Yeah. Step away. Maybe
Yeah.
it was just like dry, needed some moisturizer.
Maybe it's also was like I think the area was like inner, like arm
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it's like very soft and squishy.
Yeah.
And when you tattoo certain parts, so some parts swell up
Right.
and the other ones stay down. So
Mm-hmm.
when you go over everything lightly with a light wash, everything like raises, so like evens
Right.
out. And when you like let it sit a little bit, and it works better.
Well, okay. So something similar to that I noticed, ink goes in way easier on broken skin.
Yeah.
And so, like, doing a little pass over a certain area, especially if I want it to be like a smooth area, is to like do a little pass, let it sit for a bit, and then go back over it. And you can really like be gentle and take your time and build up those layers that way, which is a useful tool. But then obviously you don't want to like do it too much and you're just irritating the
Yeah.
skin. But yeah, I did notice that, like just having broken skin, the ink, and you have to be careful because all of a sudden you can go back in with a darker tone and something you think you've been kind of going in at a certain, I don't know, aggressiveness with the dark tones for the whole tattoo. But then if you go over that part of the tattoo that's already been tattooed or broken skin, it could be way too dark all of a sudden.
Yep. That's I think this type of things that come with experience. Like when you know
Yeah.
what to like where to be careful.
Right.
Because like in the beginning you have no idea when it can be too dark, and then all of a sudden it's like, ugh.
You're like, why did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go back to the seminars a little bit because I know you said you really enjoyed that. You think you're going to do another one?
Probably. I don't know. Like, I don't have a set schedule in my head. We have like a little wait list with people who want to take seminar, but it's interesting to see like what kind of questions people ask, and like you build up on that. Like so, like you cover most asked things.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's just like work in progress, but like, yeah.
It's something that I've actually mentioned this before in the podcast, and it happened when I met you back in 2020
Yeah.
in LA. And this was a moment for me, actually, if we're going to go back to that, a big learning moment, or a kind of like clicky moment, where I got to see what you were doing, and it took the mystery out for me, because so often I was like, these artists that are doing this work, they got to be using something that I don't know about, or they got to be like having some sort of secret needle or ink or machine, and I just don't know that yet. And then when I met you guys, it was like, oh no, they're using the same stuff I use, which was a kind of like a bittersweet moment.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I have the same.
Yeah, where I'm like, oh, like that's great, because now that means I can do that, because I have all the tools they have. But then it was also disappointing, because I'm like, well, shit, that just means like I suck. You know what I mean? Like
It's definitely the same thing when I like was starting. So like when I started, I didn't know how to use shaders like mags or whatever, and I knew that I wanted to do like realistic things because that's what I enjoyed to draw all the time.
Yeah.
And I just like didn't have knowledge or tools or whatever. And then I just started doing dots, because instead of shading, like dot by like kind of point to like wherever people like dot work. And and then slowly kind of like looking at other people, I'm like, oh, this person uses the same thing, so like if they can do it, I can do it. I probably just don't, like, I press wrong or like angle needle wrong or whatever. So I start to try like on the dot work tattoos, like a little layover, like shading here and there, and then like more and more and more and more, like the dots, they kind of like went aside.
Yeah.
And for a long time though, I used just black ink with no gray wash or anything. Definitely different look. It's like it comes out more dot worky, but it was all black ink. And then like I wanted softer look, so I looked like in other people. I'm like, okay, I should try that. And yeah, that was a learning curve.
Yeah, I went through a very similar journey to that. I was using black ink for a while, and it was working good, but
I mean, it works.
It was peppery, you know, and kind of, and so I was the same. I was like, oh, I want a really soft tone, so I started using a gray wash, and it was coming out really soft, but the problem was it would heal, and then it would just be way lighter than I thought. You know, I had no idea how to use a gray wash, and so I would use like a really, really light gray wash, but then I would use it for my dark tones as well. And so I was just like going in and layering or whatever. And there's certain inks that you can do that with, whatever. But what I was doing, and it would just come back and it would just be like gone, disappeared, you know? So it was a very frustrating learning curve. But then once I kind of found the inks that worked for me, it was like, oh, this is great.
It kind of works both ways. Like sometimes when with the gray wash, it lights up, like, and you need to kind of like know or expect how much it lights up. But the same thing with the black ink, but reverse. Like when you do soft shades with the just black ink,
it'll come back darker,
and
right?
it could look like a softest, like very dainty shading, and it comes back in healed, and every single dot will heal like black dot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, bigger and darker. So like you need to keep that in mind when you do like soft portraits or faces or like whatever it is, like backgrounds or stuff, because that can like you expect it to heal like angelic, you know, like baby face or something. It comes back with like 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, like a beard. That's I want to talk about your story as an artist. Did you ever feel like you got into this tattooing thing? Did you ever expect it to turn into what it is now?
What it is now? I don't know. When I got into tattooing, I was so happy to actually learn how to do it, because I love tattoos like always.
Yeah. That's which is funny because you have 0 tattoos.
Correct. But I like, I don't know, like from artistic point of view, like I remember
You
like
can respect it.
I had a bunch of friends who have like tattoos, and it was like now I'm thinking back, they had like very like either traditional or weird or whatever, but I always loved it. I always like would touch it or
Yeah.
like stare at people who have tattoos. I'm like, oh my god, how people can do it.
Yeah.
And I remember when internet just became like a like a search engines like became a thing
Yeah.
when you can search stuff and some like like tattooed sleeve came up and it was so realistic and so cool and I was like, oh my god. So I would like look at cool tattoos. I'm like, I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
And because I like to draw, I like to try different like mediums or I wanted to try it. And at one point I was in college, even went to like a friend's friend dad's place who was a tattoo artist. I traveled to like a different city in the middle of nowhere, and like it was, I don't remember the year, but it was like back in the day, and he tattooed at home. Had like one of his like rooms in like where he lived in his apartment. It was like dedicated tattoo studio, and it was tiny, and he had all those like books where you pick a design from a book, and he was working like when I came to visit, and he was like super friendly, looked a very standard, like what you think of, like leather vest and the beard and the, like look like a biker dude, but super nice, friendly. He showed me like around this like tiny room. He's like, oh, you can look at designs. I finish up work. And I just remember he was tattooing this like very buff army dude. Like he was wearing like army pants. And he was tattooing on his chest. And it was very loud, like this machine, like that like screams at you.
Yeah.
And the guy was laying there. Like he was like very buff dude. He was like laying, staring at the ceiling. And he was like, a tear was running down his face. I'm like, oh my God.
You're
I was
traumatized.
petrified. Yeah, I was like, I can never do this to a human being.
Yeah.
Ever. And I was like, well, thank you for, showing me. And for the longest time, for me, tattooing was like this image of a bleeding, crying dude. Like, and you have to like hurt people,
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how people do it. Like, wow, like it's cool. Like, I appreciate it so much more, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, and people can like do that and like make beautiful images with this. So like, I was very curious, and I don't think I would have gotten into tattooing if it wasn't for nuke white machines. Because that made me less scary to stick needle in a person.
Yeah, for sure. It's way more intimidating with the loud, buzzy coil machines.
Yeah, I've never used coil machine in my life.
Yeah. Do you have that hunger, like that feeling, like I want to be really good? I want to be the best.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
I think like that's important, right? I think if you want that, that's how you get better.
Yeah.
And I feel like artists that I can see, I'm like, oh, you have that. Like, you want to be the best. And then you watch their career develop, and I'm like, oh, you're really good all of a sudden,
I mean, you learn, you like very hungry, and you like bits and pieces like you can see people do or whatever. I still like am fascinated of the like so many people just looking at the work, and I'm like, I'll never be that good. But it's completely different work from what I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes me like, God damn it! Like I need to like learn more things.
Yeah,
like,
I think there's a competitive spirit that
course,
you need.
yes.
Like, and it's good and it's important because I think like you see. How do I say this in a way that's nice?
Try not nice first.
Yeah. Okay. I just see a lot of artists that are very happy with where they're at, and they're like, "I'm good," but I would not be okay being
I agree 100%. Like there are some people out there who are branding themselves beautifully.
Yeah.
They selling themselves just for their personality. I guess like it's like people are being like can be bloggers and just
Yeah.
doing their everyday life and sell it
Right.
to people to follow them and
Yeah.
whatever. A lot of like I know like there are tattoo artists out there who just like I'm the coolest person in the world, and people like drawn to that, and then you look at their work and you're like, I don't know about that.
Right.
Like, and so like if I see that person like trying to better themselves, they work and they you can see the progress clearly. Like you look at the earlier works, and I respect those people so much more than people who just like showing off a
Right.
facade of something, and then like you actually look at their work and you're like, nah.
Right.
And it's like they don't want to, like they're like, yeah, I'm amazing already. Like you
Yeah.
have to come to me, you have to get tattooed by me. And it works on a lot of people. And then it's kind of like, oh, it's
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I think that what I think is that like people who get really good at tattooing or anything, right? But if we're talking about tattooing, people who are really good, if you're listening and you're looking at an artist that you really respect and you love, it doesn't happen by accident, right? And that's what I'm always saying is like these artists want to be really good. They want to be at the top. They like want to be just for even themselves, like not even comparing to anyone, but just like I want to be as good as I could possibly be. And if
Yeah.
and that's I don't think you'll ever get there, right? Because like even as an artist, I think it's pretty natural as an artist to be like, I'm never going to be where I want. You know, like there's always room for improvement. But I think that's a good attitude to have because that's going to keep pushing you to get better. But also at the same time, I think it's nice when like so just to as an art from one artist to another artist, like you are as good as it gets, in my opinion. Like that's
the thing. And I look at someone, else like in the like, oh, this is like as good as it gets. Like
Yeah.
I wish to be that. And it happened to me multiple times throughout my career.
Yeah.
When I look at this person, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. You know,
Yeah.
like this person is like a superstar. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then I get better without like, comparing or whatever. And I go back to that, like look at the work of this particular person. I'm like, oh,
they're not as good as
I
I
am
thought.
better now.
Right.
Like I'm literally better than this person now.
Yes.
And then I find someone else who's like, in my opinion, at this moment is like way better. And I'm like, oh my God.
And you might, but you might then eventually think
Yes.
the same thing.
It happened multiple times.
I think it's because your standards change, right?
Yes. And also your vision change and
Yeah.
like what you're looking for. And yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed this? I've noticed whenever I'm around tattoo artists that I look up to, there's something that happens that my tattoos get better. Like I just level up just
Yeah.
from the energy in the room. I don't
Yeah.
really know what it is, But yeah, I've always noticed that anytime I travel or I'm around other artists, and it stays with me. Like I'm like, wow, my tattoos are looking really good, and then I'll go back home and that'll continue.
I mean, sometimes I notice that too. Like, and also like when you're not in your space,
Your
I
own
guess.
environment, yeah.
Your own environment, you're like on high alert for things, and
Yeah.
also like you wanna like to like present yourself. Like when you like a guest in the studio, you're like, oh, I hope they like wanna have me again. Like
Yeah.
like I hope people are happy or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I think there's I don't know, I'm not like a big I don't know what you would call that, but I do think there's like an energy that you can kind of feed off of, when you're around other artists that are better than you. And I think that's like a good thing to do is like, especially when you're learning,
Yeah.
just like go be around those artists as much as you can.
And you know what I noticed? People who do like similar to our or like whatever, who do like very good work that is kind of aligned with us or whatever. I almost never like meet an asshole person. Everybody's
Oh, I
such
know.
a sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like when you meet someone who does, like who has traditional standards or something, they can be like tough,
Yeah.
rough,
A little harsh.
That
Yeah.
you're a little harsh, and but people who like kind of maybe started at the same time. I don't know what it is, but so many people are just so nice.
Yeah, way nicer than you think.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
you expect them to be like a superstar. And
Exactly. Yeah. Have a little attitude or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I find that as well. And like, yeah, if you're ever hesitant or you're not sure, like, oh, should I reach out to them or should I've talked to artists and I'm like, you're good. Like, you're a good tattoo artist. Like, and they have this, so that's the other side of it. They have this like vision of themselves or their work. And it's like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not ready yet. And they're like, I would love to go do a guest spot at X, Y, and Z studio or whatever. And I'm like, you should. And they're like, I'm not ready yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, like, no, they won't have me. I'm not ready. I'm like, reach out to them. Of course they will. You know, like your work is good. They like meeting new artists. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. You know, this like perfect moment.
When I was starting, I don't think I was like good enough maybe yet or whatever. I have been turned around from studios.
Really?
Like, yeah.
They said, don't come here?
No, they're like, we don't have spots yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Recently or?
No. But, you know, like when you don't know, you know, like only big names or whatever. So I like a message to like Shamrock, you know, because it's a famous LA. Like I didn't know where to go to in LA. Like I have no idea, but I wanted to travel.
Yeah.
So I messaged them and they're like, nah.
See, I think though that's like probably, that was an era where everyone was just like, so crazy busy.
Yes,
Everyone was like
yes.
really like pretentious. Like, I don't need this. I don't need
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean? And it was very like, so I think nowadays it's different where like people maybe see it more as like a business or like, yeah, like let's talk about you coming here, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it just doesn't feel like that would be the energy now, you know?
I came across a weird like energy, I guess. I don't know. Like, so we were gonna go to San Francisco, and we messaged like we didn't know where to go. We messaged this like random shop that was like, you know, like in a general nice area or whatever. So I messaged them, and they sent me so many applications to fill out to guest spot there. Usually
Really?
it's so easy. It's like you message people, yeah, come in. Like
Yeah.
we have spots on this, whatever, like maybe not that, like something. And they send me just like, it's like a job application.
Really?
With the, like, yeah, and like fill this out and we send it to a manager and you will be considered to like, oh, no.
You're
Yeah,
like, excuse me.
I was not. I was like, well, thanks. I mean, thank you, no thank you. But
Yeah.
like, yeah. But
See,
I guess it's like, you know, like it was if it's like a more word corporate is weird.
Was it the owner that did that to you or was it?
I don't think so. I think they had like a manager girl who sits at the desk and replies same messages to everybody.
See, if I was the owner of that studio and that was happening, I would be so frustrated. Like, that's bad business. Because
It is bad business,
They
yeah.
just lost potential business, you know?
Yes. And like we stopped by, like we passed by that studio and it gets a feeling they have like a bunch of little tattoos down there.
Yeah.
Versus like a big, you know, like
Yeah.
projects.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. They're lost.
They're lost. Okay. Yeah.
There used to be such an attitude in tattoo shops and tattoo artists. And I just don't think they can afford that anymore. You know, because it's going to make things a lot harder. And like things have changed so much that it's similar in music. Okay. So just to compare, they talk about LA versus Nashville, both cities full of musicians. LA musicians, this is funny. I wonder if there's any musicians that are going to listen to this. LA musicians are very notoriously kind of more pretentious and full of it, you know, and kind of have a little more of an attitude. Nashville musicians are so nice because if they had that bad attitude, they would be replaced by someone else instantly because there's so many amazing talented musicians that they don't need you.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think that's becoming the way it is now with tattoo artists, where you used to be a small pool of artists that were talented, that people would just be dying to get tattooed by you. And now it's a sea of talented tattoo artists that if you do have a bad attitude or if you're giving people a bad experience, I don't think that's going to last very long for you, you know? So I think that culture in tattooing has changed a lot and is continuing to change, and I'm happy about that because like, you know, we just don't need that.
Yeah, and the pretentious people with bad service, people find that out, and it's just
Yes.
sifting through.
Yeah, it carries. So, yeah, but I like you were saying, most tattoo artists nowadays you meet, most places you go to, people are so nice and friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Including you guys, and coming here in the studio, the vibe and energy here is wonderful. So
It's like we, like me and Katya, Kate, opened our first studio 7 years ago or something. So like for 1 year we were like a street shop, right?
yeah,
Bad energy, bad. And every day we would come to work and we had a separate room like in the basement. So we'd just like go to the basement, would only come upstairs because it was stencil machines were upstairs, and like to greet clients and don't even interact with like most of the people there. It was just constant drama, constant something. People like, and it was like a walk-in shop, and there was like so many drunk people all the time. People who like crazy or like some, like whatever the typical stories. And we ran from there after 1 year. Like like once we start booking ourselves, goodbye. Like it was such a relief to have this like very calm, nice, like studio space where everything is comfortable. You have everything. You don't have, like loud music blasting or people screaming or people like taking weird things, getting high and stuff like
taking drugs.
Taking drugs, and it's like it's such a I don't know. It's such a like bad negative cloud around those places.
Yeah.
And now like with all this like private studios, and it's just like
Lovely.
You want a snack? You want tea or coffee?
I know.
Chillax. We have multiple pillows you can choose from.
Yeah.
Just like you want to sleep, read a book. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I love
great.
it.
Yeah, and you guys have a great space here. I know it's only been a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. And
I love this.
it's a great spot.
Great spot, great view, very convenient to get to.
Yeah.
So like easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this with me.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to come back. Sweet.
Yeah, always welcome.
Thank you. That was great. Good job. High five.
High five.